Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Our gathering music this morning, Brenda is going to give us a piece. It's an arrangement from a 16th century British lullaby. It may be familiar to many of you, Coventry Carol. Thank you, Brenda. Go ahead. So it's such beautiful music. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. My name is Melly, and I am on the chalice team. I sing in the choir, and I am very, very glad that you're here. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious tradition that values freedom in religious thought and journey. We uphold the unity of our interconnections, connections to each other, to all of life, and to the precious universe of which we are a part. We affirm the universality of love and hope as we journey together in community. And we welcome you, whoever you are at this moment, and wherever you are in your spiritual journey. For those of you joining us online, welcome. Hello, Facebook people. If you're new, please check out our website, uufayetteville.org, for more information to sign up to receive the weekly email. For those of you visiting us for the first time in person, you will find a visitor information card on the seat back in front of you. If they already caught you and gave you a clipboard, don't worry, you don't have to do it twice. But we would love for you to fill one of these out so that we can get you on the email list and keep you informed of all the cool things that we do here. Later in our service, we'll have a time where you are invited to come forward and drop a stone, symbolizing your joy or concern, into our bowl of water. If you have a joy or concern that you would like to share, we invite you to fill out one of the yellow cards that you'll find on the seat back in front of you. You can go ahead and fill those out whenever you want. You don't have to wait for then. There's a place to indicate if you want it to be shared or to be kept confidential and shared only with the pertinent leadership. If you're online, you may write your joys and concerns in the comments there at the appropriate time, but please note that those will be public, like just about everything on Facebook. If you have need for hearing assistance, our AV tech, David, can help you out with that. Right back there. Children are always welcome in our service, but there is a staff nursery downstairs, and you can always just step out into the foyer if you have need for a serious conversation. Our adults can also step into the foyer if you have need for a serious conversation. I know sometimes it's hard. Remember to silence your cell phones, and thank you so much for being with us today. And now our awesome guest, Dr. Doug Krueger, will give us some opening words.
Thank you, folks. I'm so pleased to be here with you again. And this time of year, as many of you know, is very special because despite the topic of my talk that I'll be doing later in just a little bit about discord at this time of year, for thousands and thousands of years, this is no exaggeration, for going back into prehistory, this time of year, people have gathered together in families, in tribes, in political units, whatever the unit may be, in order to renew themselves, in order to recharge, in order to reconnect, in order to strengthen their bonds. And I'm glad to see that we're here, and I hope that during this gathering we can renew, recharge, and reconnect. So thank you.
Of course, I just started chewing an ice cube. That made me a little bit longer of the words. Please, if you would, say these words as we light the chalice together. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start with a hymn that might be unfamiliar to some. It was to me. Brenda tells me it was originally a song by Brahms that the UU's turned into a hymn, and the words are beautiful and the tune is beautiful. But let's just have an open learner's mind as we sing together. Stand if you choose to, and the words will be up here, or you can turn to 309 in your gray hymn book.
Far
Thank you. Please be seated.
Hello. I'm Oliver, and today's story for all ages is called Talk and Work It Out by, I'm probably going to butcher this, Sherry J. Miners. I'm learning to get along with lots of people. Sometimes I don't agree with the person. It's okay to have different ideas. But if something really bothers me, I can choose to work things out. I can stop and take a big breath to calm myself. I can take time to think about what to do. I may want to talk about the problem. I can look at the person and speak up when I tell how I feel. I can listen and think about how the other person feels. I learn more about the problem when I listen to another view. I can say back what I hear. This shows that I understand and care. As we talk about the problem, I can be polite and friendly. It feels good to be heard and to understand things better. I can use my imagination to help solve the problem. I can think of lots of ideas. And I can ask the person to help find an answer. What do you think? If I still need help, I can ask a grown-up. I can think about each idea. What might happen? Will we both be happy? I can help choose a plan that's good for both of us. I can cooperate to make things work. I might share or take turns or do something nice. Let's go play. Sometimes it's hard to find an answer that everyone likes. I can still show respect. I'm learning to solve my problems peacefully. Getting along can be more important than getting everything I want. If I care about someone else's ideas and feelings as much as my own, we can usually find a way to work things out.
That's my kid. Sorry. As a community of people that care about each other, we share our various joys and concerns with each other. And we invite you to share your ups and downs as you desire. You can come to the front, and drop a stone for any joy or concern, shared or confidential, expressed or held in your heart. As you drop your stone, may you experience the spreading of love and support. If you filled out a card, you can bring it to me. On the card, please make sure that you indicate whether it's supposed to be shared or confidential. And if you need to stay where you are, just hold your card up and someone will bring it for you. If you're attending virtually, now's the time to write your joys and concerns in the comments. And now is the time when we're going to share together. To reiterate, you do not have to have a card or anything that you're going to share out loud in order to participate in this precious ritual with us. Jean, will you please drop a stone for all of the sorrows and concerns that we may experience this week, and for those that were unspoken? And let's drop a stone for all the joys and happinesses that we hope we will experience this coming week, and for those that were not spoken, and maybe some more. Let us remember as we come into this week that we are a community and everything we share makes it easier. Now we have Joanna, who's going to give us a gratitude moment.
Wow. Hello, everybody. It's December. Yeah. Oh, Edith asked me to provide a gratitude moment on the last day of the pledge drive, and I can honestly say that I'm incredibly grateful for the request and happy to share with all of you today. I'm a pretty private person, but I love y'all, and I know that you support me and love me too. That's one of the things I'm most grateful for. I'm grateful to Edith for her pledge drive leadership this year, and to everyone else who has made the pledge drive a success. Our goal this year is to raise $120,000 for 2024, and we are over 85% there, which is a gain compared to prior years by comparison. That said, if you've been meaning to complete your pledge, the last day of the pledge drive is a great day to do it. When you fill out your pledge form, either online or a paper pledge card, either one, you're stating what you're pledging for 2024. You're not necessarily like paying it all now. You know, some do, some don't. It can just be worked out however it works best for you. So this is also the way that we keep track of our active membership. So please complete the card so that Fawn adds it to our records. And if you have any questions or you're not sure about auto drafts and that sort of thing, just see Fawn and she'll be happy to help. I want to say too, before I get into my whole story journey, and this is 7 minutes, not 5. I just want to confess that up front. Couldn't get down to 5. I want to say that I'm very grateful and extremely humbled to have served as president this year. It wasn't anything I'd ever anticipated, and I was surprised when I was approached some years back. I'm very grateful. I know I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've been very fortunate to serve with a really strong board and be given a lot of support from all of you, including experience and expertise that you've shared, as well as just support emotionally, and I really appreciate that. So, now for a bit about my story and journey to UUFF. As many of you know already from attending the Being UU classes, where we also share about our spiritual and religious journeys, I had a variety of religious, philosophical, and spiritual influences growing up. You may know that I was raised by my grandparents, but you may not know why. When I was a baby, my mother and father were married, and they lived in Fresno, California, where I was born, which was some distance from their parents, who all lived in California. My mother ended her own life. My father was not able to care for me due to the traumatic nature of the loss of his wife and unhealthfully coping with substance abuse. So my mother and father's parents got together and made a pact to make sure that I was raised with love and guidance and security, and I'm sure grateful for them. They did not necessarily have a lot in common, but they did share family values and the belief that children need to be shown love and safety and security. As the story was told to me, they agreed that I would live with my paternal grandparents. Mama Lois and Papa Jim, my maternal grandparents, were heavily grieving the loss of their daughter, and Mama Ethel always had wanted to raise a girl after having 3 boys herself. So I was on visitation schedule with my maternal grandparents, and I also saw my father off and on growing up, who I loved dearly. My father's parents were Arkansans who had transplanted to California, and as you might imagine, had strong Protestant Christian influence. Mama Ethel always said, though, you don't have to go to church as long as you know the Lord and you read your Bible. Nevertheless, in first grade, they sent me to Catholic school. No one in my family was Catholic on either side. I don't know what I was doing. But because the thinking then was that private Catholic school was a more structured and personal approach to education than public school. The nuns were strict, but also very caring and helpful. They seemed to know each of us, our strengths and our struggles. They taught me how to read and write. That wasn't easy, and I'm grateful. The nuns also taught us about injustices in the world, like famines in Cambodia and Ethiopia, and I couldn't understand why we were not all there helping. We moved to Arkansas after my grandfather retired from the state of California as a forensic chemist. That was a difficult transition for me, moving to a small town where everyone had a church home. I've never heard of that concept before. I gradually accepted that if people were going to trust me enough to be my friends, then I was going to have to join a church. I went to girls' auxiliary meeting at Central Baptist Church, where I had attended a few Sunday services. There, I accepted Jesus as my personal Lord and Savior. By then, I was 10, and I'd reached a time of questioning about the purpose and the meaning of life. And I was a Protestant Christian for the next 16 to 17 years, complete with a calling to go into international missions. All the while, my maternal grandparents, who I felt remarkably close to emotionally, were humanists who had told me some about their years in the Unitarian Church, which they no longer attended, but still had alignment in terms of principles. They had taught children's Sunday school there and raised their children in the UU. For a Protestant Christian, I was liberal socially and politically, and as I matured, began to live with a lot of cognitive dissonance. Thank you. Yeah, you've all, yeah. Many of you know that feeling. It's like being two people who don't get along and trying to reconcile their incompatibility every day. Inside. The arts matter so much to our growth. And thank you. I appreciate that we really revere and appreciate the arts in this congregation. Here's an example. I went to watch the movie Pearl Harbor in the theater. Both of my grandfathers and my mama Lois were in World War II, served in World War II. I walked into that movie a Christian with a lot of cognitive dissonance and walked out no longer a Christian. I had a spiritual experience in the movie and with a newfound feeling of liberation and joy. I felt so free to be myself, grow and learn about the world with an open mind, which I loved. I believed in justice and equity for everyone, the freedom to be ourselves and have our rights protected, and I still do. I wanted little to do with organized religion for years after that, but always knew that if I ever wanted to be a part of a fellowship again, that I would find my way to a UU. I visited UUs over the years, including stealthily visiting here off and on, but came back for real around 2018, or I should say for the first time really, when the children in Sam's preschool started asking him what church he went to. A familiar line of questioning in Southern U.S. culture. I wanted him to have a safe place to explore and learn about religion in an environment that is socially supportive, encouraging, and accepting. And I couldn't be more grateful that we found just that, and more with this UUFF community. We've made genuine friendships, are treated not only with dignity and respect, but with caring and consideration as well. I'm also grateful for the dedication that I see in so many of you that have stayed with this fellowship for decades. I cannot overstate what that sense of stability and commitment means to me, because it shows not only tenacity and attachment to this fellowship, the principles, and the community, but that this community also worked well for you and your families. There's such a peace in knowing this and the rich history your dedication has fostered. Thank you. I'm grateful for the newer members and new interest in our fellowship too, because this shows that we will continue strong, grounded in our principles of caring, fairness, and kindness, both within our fellowship and to making a positive social difference in our broader community. I'm grateful for all of our programs and the opportunities they give us to live our principles, and for the opportunity to gain experience from and grow with all of you. I'm grateful for this building and these sacred grounds so lovingly tended. Having a sense of place and belonging where we can be ourselves and engage in the responsible search for truth and meaning is vital for our well-being, the well-being of our souls, and I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for the tradition of acknowledging the benefit of nature connectedness as well. I think that's really important for our well-being as well, so I'm grateful for that. So thank you. That's it. So now we're going to go right into our offering, if I can find it. This fellowship is a theologically diverse religious community with membership open to all who are in accordance with our principles, our mission, and our vision. Our congregation is entirely self-governed by a democratic process. And one of the privileges of our free fellowship tradition is to provide all of the financial support for our many ministries from amongst ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. And now you're invited. The lovely people have come forth to participate in this blessing of giving. And we just gratefully accept your contributions to this congregation. No, yeah. Not that I'm aware of. Do we have music? Thank you, Brenda. That was so beautiful. Now Doug is going to come and share the message with us.
All right. Well, folks, I'm here to give you some interesting perspective on the holidays, but it's a perspective, well, I'm going to tell you some things you may not know, especially my own personal opinion about the matter. And there's no way you could know it, right? But there's also, of course, the fact that there's no secret that there is often discord and maybe conflict around the holiday season. And as I mentioned earlier, it's no singularity in our culture that we have holidays grouped together near the end of the year. This is the sort of thing that human beings have recognized, the something like a year's end, right? And then followed by a sense of renewal for thousands of years going back into prehistory. And for thousands of years going back into prehistory, there have been problems when people get together. Yeah. First, one thing, speaking of discord, so even the title of my talk has spawned some difficulties, people wondering, hey, where's the other S in desserts, right? Are you saying there's going to be deserts on our table? What are you talking about? Well, actually, I looked it up because I wasn't sure. Just desserts for the holiday table. This is the correct spelling of desserts when it's used to mean what someone deserves, right? So it's spelled like deserts, but it's pronounced desserts, right? The dessert you eat has 2 S's. The crow you eat has 1 S, right? Okay, so, right, why did I pick this topic? Well, because recently in my family, we have had to, we have gathered together a couple of times. Early in November, my mother passed away, and that brought the family together from disparate parts of the United States. We all went down to South Texas, where I'm originally from. Very South Texas, near the border with Mexico. And so that was a very somber moment, a very important moment for our family. And so there was discord. And not everybody can agree on things, as you can imagine. One would think that with a funeral, everybody's going to be accommodating and everybody... No. To my surprise. And so, yeah, we do love our families, though, don't we? Okay, most wow, that was a little more sparse than I thought in terms of reaction. But they can be a source of great inspiration, strength, and recharging your batteries, as they say, and things like that. But of course, not everybody, right? Not there's always that one, maybe. That and that's why I chose this topic, because I do have a family member that is a problem for me. Just one. Pretty much at this point, just one. Well, maybe it's that this person is such a problem, I don't even notice the other potential problems, right? So anyway, yeah, so what to do? Well, so I'm going to do 2 things in my presentation today. I'm going to give you some general advice and backed by science, right? General advice that will help you perhaps cope with the holiday season. And then I'm going to give you specifically some things about that person in your life. Okay. So let's start with, a survey. I found this to be incredible. A survey of a couple of thousand Americans who are traveling to visit family for the holidays found that 2 in 5 who stay with families say it can be stressful. Okay, it can be stressful. Like, hey, seeing my family, right? Some people don't look at it in the joyful way that perhaps we would like, right? In fact, 30% said they'd enjoy the holidays more if they didn't have to all sleep under the same roof. Wow, that's interesting. 30%. That's pretty, but it gets worse. Okay, I'm about to show you some other things. The survey found respondents can spend an average of 3 hours and 54 minutes with their family before they need a moment to themselves. Less than 4 hours. After 4 hours, it's like, this is too much, right? And notice that these are people that are traveling and perhaps even traveling a long way. And one would think that, whew, I'm here with people that I've known all my life and et cetera. And it can be a little much, right, in less than 4 hours. In fact, yeah, 1 in 4 Americans have hidden in a relative's house to get a moment alone. Wow. Okay, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands on that one. But if it's 1 in 4, 25%, folks, that's huge. Okay, that means of this group, 1/4 of us, if we're, going with the average, would raise our hands that we've hidden. 37% have even made an excuse as to why they just have to get out of there. Yeah. Wow. So holidays, I thought it was, maybe a singular experience with me or my situation with my family and so forth, but wow, that's a lot. So we do have a lot in common in terms of stress for the holidays. In fact, another survey found that 28%, of those polled predicted family dynamics will negatively impact their mental well-being. Oh, man. 52% of women said their family triggers their depression around the holidays. 45% of men said the same thing. So that's about half the people. Okay. So this is a time, I know you were thinking, oh, the holidays are coming, and along comes Dr. Krueger to tell you that things are not going to look so rosy, right? But then on the other hand, I think some of you already knew that, and you know your family better than anyone. So, okay, so what are we going to do about this situation? Well, you know what? I went and looked to see what professionals would say. The American Psychiatric Association. And they give us 7 things, okay, count them, 7 things that you can do to cope with these kinds of stressful times in your life, the holidays. Okay, so let's see. First, practice mindfulness and meditation. Oh, and so you know what? Isn't it interesting that right here in UUFF, there is a group that meets, and I just asked today, you may not see them around meeting here because it turns out there just isn't enough space. There's so much stuff going on here. Such an active group you are. This is so great that they don't have room to meet here, so they're meeting on Zoom at 9 o'clock on Sunday mornings. So if you want to practice some meditation and mindfulness and so forth, inquire about how do I get this link. Okay, so practice mindfulness and meditation. There are groups in many cities and regions that'll show you how to meditate and practice mindfulness. And one thing I was going to add, but what? Speaking of stress, yeah. Yeah. We're going to cross this off my list? What? Okay. All right, I see. Okay, I gotta put in some more funny, or they're going to cancel me. I was going to say, this is free. In most places, there's lots of places where, and here in Fayetteville, there's a Buddhist monk that has meditation meetings on a regular basis and so forth. There's a wealth of opportunity for you to do this at no cost. And if you know me, you know that's one of my favorite parts, is that it's no cost. There are many online videos. If you somehow can't find the time or opportunity to meet with others, there are online videos, and in fact, there are even apps that will coach you, and you can have those on your smartphone, right? That's why they call them smartphones. They're pretty darn smart. It'll teach you it'll teach you breathing, and I even had one app that would had a little circle expanding, contracting, so you'll know when to breathe. You look at your phone. It's telling me how to breathe, right? And so this is a great help. And this don't underestimate the power of meditation and just setting aside a time to relax. Preventing burnout. One of the things that stresses people, now it depends on what your relationships with others in your family are, but some people tend to get saddled with a bunch of tasks, okay? I don't know if this happens to you, but, we're going to have a family get-together. Oh, could you, and then they start giving you a list of things. I need you to, and then give you a bunch of stuff to do. Well, you know, there's a good way to keep from being overwhelmed, and that is to get rid of some of the whelms, okay? So they don't flow over. Just simplify things. Simplify. It's okay to say no. Did you spend hours last year making that really difficult recipe, and people say, oh, you need to do that again? Wow, but it took me 5 hours, you might say. I don't really want to spend that kind of energy this year. So it's okay to say no. Wait a minute. Over there were some words that were supposed to pop up. Okay, I can see things are going weird. Okay. Did you organize the last dinner plans from top to bottom, and you don't want the stress again? It's okay to say no. Do you want to avoid carpooling with family after they just had a fight? Yeah. Okay. There's no shame in saying, you know what? I'm going to get an Uber, or I'm going to ride with the other family members or whatever, or I'm just going to walk. Right? I don't want this stress, because you can control what you're doing in these situations. People aren't there to order you around, okay? They think they are, maybe. Maybe that's part of the problem. Maybe that's part of the stress. But you know what? You can say, you know what? I did that kind of thing last year. Can we have someone else do it? And when they persist, you say, no. Right. Sorry, I really don't have the energy for it. We're going to have to find someone else. Oh, yeah, look. Wait a minute. This worked last night. I don't know. They were supposed to. Anyway, take a break. This is really important. Take a break. If people or events start to overwhelm you, just leave. Okay? There's no shame, says the American Psychiatric Association, in removing yourself from the situation. Get up, leave the room. Okay? Go outside, cool down, right? And then you can come back in. So what are you going to tell everybody? Just tell them you need a break, right? Say, or, if you don't want to, I don't know if that's really going out on a limb, you just say, I need a break, folks. I'll be back in a bit, okay? Or here's how a lot of people say it. It's a little stuffy in here. I think I'm going to go out and get some fresh air. Right? That works too. That has worked for centuries, right? It's a little stuffy in here. I'm going to go outside. Someone might say, it's snowing outside. Well, I like the snow. You can come up with something. Just step out of the room. You don't have to leave the entire house. But, being with family isn't supposed to be a marathon. If you only see some of them once a year, and this is the time where you're seeing them, you don't have to make it into an ordeal, right? Just say, maybe you can take them in small doses. See them for a couple of hours. Oh, I'm going to go take a break. See them for another couple of hours. Oh, I need to go get something at the store. Right. For you. Right. That's always, oh, you need to get something for me. Well, by all means, you know. And this store is far away. Oh, don't worry. If it's for me, then you come back with some little knick-knack or whatever. I thought you would like this. Oh, okay. How about, and when you go out, it really is a good idea, say the American Psychiatric Association experts, it really is a good idea to get fresh air and sunlight. Walking outside in the sun can be an effective centering and calming tool, okay? Connecting with nature. Right. Benefits include stress relief, better concentration, lower levels of inflammation, and improved mental energy. Well, who doesn't want that, right? That sounds great. And here's my tip, okay? Doug's tip. An easy way to do this, if there are kids playing outside, then say, I'm going to go see how the kids are doing, right? I want to go visit with the kids. And of course, maybe you do want to visit with the kids. But you also want to get out of there, right? So just say, I'm going to go see how the kids are doing. And that'll work, okay? There you go. Go visit with them. Then if you're in therapy, stay in therapy. Of course, what do you think the American Psychiatric Association would say? Don't drop your therapy now. This is when you need it the most, right? Yeah, there is something to be said for that, certainly. So the holidays can bring up difficult emotions. Keeping scheduled therapy sessions helps you ensure you have a built-in time to explore anything that comes up. And if you're going out of town and you usually meet in person, see about a virtual meeting. Lots of doctors, therapists, medical people of all sorts do this now. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon. Abandoning your therapy sessions just as the holidays are starting, that's like training for a marathon and then deciding to run it without your shoes, right? That's not going to work. So there we go. Prepare to confront grief and loss with positive steps. This is hard, right? But what that means is, since holidays remind us of our loved ones, and many people keenly feel the loss more during the holidays because somebody used to always be there, and now they're not. Well, some people try not to think about it, but that may not be the best thing. You can run away from family members, but you can't run away from your own thoughts, okay? So what do? Well, actually, the APA had some good advice. They said, consider honoring and celebrating that person that you're thinking of by getting together with other family members and friends, treasuring their life stories and so forth. Just trade stories. I found myself doing that. I went to my mother's funeral at the beginning of November, and then I went to a Thanksgiving reunion of family down there in South Texas as well. And I kept, I was thinking of my mother and thinking, oh, she would have loved this, she would have loved that. She was a big Elvis fan, so if Elvis came on anywhere, I would always think, oh, my mother would have loved to hear that, and so forth. But talk about it. Talk with each other, with your family. And then finally, believe it or not, money is a big thing during the holidays that causes a lot of stress. Instead of overspending, focus on celebrating together, showing affection by being present, engaging, supporting each other. Instead of one gift per person, maybe do a Secret Santa. That cuts down on the costs. And instead of expensive gifts, consider homemade or handmade things. Right? Oh, there's the Secret Santa list. And there's homemade things. Good idea. Oh, for your sister. Hey, there we go. All right. Excellent, excellent. So my son just started his first crochet lesson yesterday with an able teacher, Jocelyn, who is an accomplished person in that area. So, okay. But let's not forget there are those people that make things difficult, okay? Suppose a family member has wronged you in the past. Suppose you know when you meet with family again, you're going to encounter that person, okay? Even thinking about that person stresses you out, right? And I have a person in my family that has been the cause of a lot of stress, right? And just thinking about that person, oh no, that person's going to be down there. You know, and it's a cause of stress. What should you do? Well, common methods of coping, people like to avoid and ignore, think of revenge, or forgive and forget, okay? Well, in some sense, I know this may come as a surprise, but I'm not entirely comfortable with all of those, with any of those. And let me explain why. So first, obviously, avoid and ignore is not going to really be the best solution, is it? You can ignore it, but that doesn't mean it's going to go away, okay? Ignoring someone can sometimes work, and you know, maybe that cuts down on the amount of interaction, but it doesn't really solve the problem. Because next year, when you're going to have that family reunion or whatever it is, that person's still going to be coming there, and you haven't fixed the problem. Leaving the issue unresolved guarantees it'll continue to plague you in the future. So, yeah, avoiding and ignoring cuts down on the interaction, and maybe that's the immediate solution, but that can't function as a long-term solution. How about revenge? Apparently, this is from an actual incident in filming the original series of Star Trek. Somebody put "kick me" sign on Shatner or something like that. So, no, don't go for the revenge thing. Actually, originally I was going to have a picture of Arnold Schwarzenegger. In one of his movies, he prays to his God for revenge, right? And I thought that would make a great picture, but that was a little too much. Got to keep it light, right? So, yeah, doing something unkind to another person itself will cause problems. It'll not only leave the problem unresolved, okay, but it'll make the problem worse, okay? So that's not going to be a good solution, no matter how much you love entertaining the possibility in your head, but leave it there, right? So what about forgive and forget, okay? This one, a lot of people recommend this, and there is something to be said for it. Forgiveness can sometimes work. You go up to the person and say, I want to have can we talk for a minute, or, you know, something like that, and try to have a discussion and say, oh, you know, you did such and such, you know, thing to me, last time or whatever it was. That might resolve the issue, but this leaves the question of resolution in the hands of someone else. Like, I'm forgiving you, but that doesn't mean they're going to change their behavior. Right? Not everyone sees forgiveness as closure. In fact, some people would see it as license. Oh, it was okay? You think it's okay that I did that? Well, guess what? I'm going to do it again. You know, there are some people like that. Okay. So is there another solution? So I thought about this, and I've always had a problem understanding forgiveness in a certain way, because is that just saying that it's okay? What does it mean to forgive? Maybe it means we're not going to bring this up anymore, something like that. But is that, if that still bothers you, that's not really a solution. The way I look at it, if it's my problem, it should be my resolution. I don't want to try to enter into an agreement with someone else in order to resolve my problem with that someone else. Because what if they don't agree? What if they do see it as license? Oh, okay, you forgave me. Well, that means no harm, no foul. Now we're starting from a clean plate. Now let me do that again, right? There are people like that. So the solution, I think, is not about the other person. This is the way I look at it. The solution is not about what am I going to do about this person? What am I going to do when this person does this? What am I going to do when, and so forth? Well, the solution is really about me. It's my problem with that person, but the person is just going to be that person. What I need to do is figure out me, not them. I can't control that other person. I don't have to figure out what I'm going to do about somebody else. I don't have that power. I don't have control over them. But I do have control over me. Okay? So, I'm the problem, it's me. Well, yeah, I don't need to figure out someone else's place with me. Okay? I don't need to figure out where they fit in my life. The way I look at it, the other person's place in the world is not my responsibility. Okay? They need to figure out what they're going to do in relation to other people. What do I need to figure out? I need to figure out what kind of person I want to be. Am I going to be a person who hides? Am I going to be a person who plots revenge? Or am I going to be a nice person? What I figured out about this problem is I'm just going to be me. I'm not going to be a different person to each person. If I have to remember, okay, this person I'm going to treat this way. This one, okay, not so much as the other one, but I'm going to treat them this. This one I'm going to, right? That's a lot of things to remember. I can't remember all of that stuff. I just have to be me. I'm going to just continue to be the way I am. My relationships with others are based on the same foundation, me. So what foundation do I want to have? If I want to be a good, kind person, then that's what I'm going to be. That person, I'm not going to give that person the power to change me. Okay? I'm going to be the person that I want to be. I gotta be me, right? So, I don't know how many people remember Sammy Davis Jr., but anyway, that was one of his big hits. So, yeah, here's the way I want to do it. Treat all others equally. Be kind. Keep calm. Carry on. Right? Be mindful. Stay kind. And make the other person decide how are you going to respond. The other person returns kindness with harm. The other person is the one that loses. You're not going to have me and my resources and my help if you're going to be hostile. They lose their gifts, companionship. Move on. Try again later. Don't give up on people. Right? Don't give up on people. And you just keep on being you. There we go. Thank you. Thank you.
For the sake of time, we're going to skip this, and you can stay and sing with us at the end if you want to, but we'll move on to the lighting of the chalice, or extinguishing of the chalice.
Please join me in saying the words as we extinguish the chalice together. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Okay, cool. Thank you for joining us today. Doug, do you have closing words? Okay. Thank you all for coming.